That'll be next time. But this time, it's 5/26, May 8th, 2020. My name is Justin. To my right, your left, that's going to be Steven.
Hey.
Across from us, as always, and back again, Eric.
Why do I keep moving? Find out next episode.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And this is the Lone Ranger vs. Tonto up in the motherfucker. Ooh, let's do it one more time since I fucked that up. Here we go. Make sure this is in.
Yep.
All right. This is the Lone Ranger vs. Tonto up in this motherfucker. God damn it.
Hey, I am so excited to be back here and not stuck in my house.
I'm so excited you didn't give me the COVID.
I know that. I feel like that's a little selfish though, Justin. Maybe you should be excited that I didn't get it.
I'm more concerned about myself.
All right.
Have we celebrated that you didn't have it already?
The day after.
When you sent us a text, now it's more personal.
Nah.
It took too long.
Nah. Even if you had the COVID, I wasn't too worried about you. But I'm just glad you didn't give me the COVID. I'm talking about.
I'm glad I didn't give nobody the COVID either. I would actually, truthfully, rather just get it and not give it to anybody. I would feel a lot worse if I gave it to somebody than getting it.
I know that's right. Well, it's been a week since you've been here. I guess 2 weeks since you've been here.
Yeah.
What's changed in the life of Steve in the last 2 weeks?
Well, my hair won't fucking stop growing. I don't know if you guys have the same problem during quarantine, but it just keeps fucking going.
You know what? Quarantine ended this morning in Colorado. Stay at home. Shit was dissolved, and therefore I shaved.
Oh, well, I could shave now. It's more of like the hair on top of my head, not on the front of my head that I'm worried about.
The hair on top of my head keep growing too, boy.
Yeah, I don't think you worry about it as much, but mine's starting to get a little bit. It's that in-between phase. If I could just jump to you, I'd be fine. I can pull it back in a ponytail, but now I got months before that's possible. And
like a year.
Boy, I don't think I want to pull my hair back in a ponytail. I don't think I want to, like, rock a top knot. I don't want any of that. I just want my hair cut.
Word, I ain't mad at that.
I'm patient enough. I don't mind. I don't need it cut. I want it, but I don't need it cut. I can still keep pulling it back until it is long enough to just keep doing its thing.
Shout out to hats, because I haven't worried about that.
No doubt. You know, if my shit was not growing is what would concern me, I'd be like, oh shit, my shit stopped growing. Something wrong with me. My cells ain't dying fast enough. Yeah, I stopped getting haircuts. My last haircut was 2015, November. Right here in the undisclosed location. My cousin John came in and hooked me up. Since then, I've had some lineups, but, you know, no haircuts. And I did it because I don't like haircuts. So all these people complaining, oh, I can't wait to go get a haircut. I fucking hate haircuts, dude. I hate them. I'm like, fuck, once I'm sitting down and I'm like, fuck it, be done already, dude. Just be done. Just fucking get it over with. And so now I'm like, this is tight. Growing your hair is way fucking cooler.
That's how I feel about my beard. And people are like, oh, how do you not shave? Like, how do you get past it? It's not so much anymore. I guess a lot of people grow beards now. But I used to get asked all the time, like, how do you grow it out? Like, it's so hard. And I'm like, you just do it. I don't like shaving. That's why I grow a beard, because I don't like to shave. It's a pain in the ass. My skin's real sensitive. I was like, just rather grow it out.
Yeah, you're a sensitive guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shit, I got the COVID. Goddamn. Oh, my bad. That was just the kush.
Kush.
Know what I'm talking about? Anyways, so let's talk about this beer that you brought, Steven. I feel like you're really excited about this particular beer.
Ooh. Well,
why?
To be honest, I don't know too much about the beer. I've only had it once, and I was pretty hammered when I was there. And so I don't remember it too well, which was a disappointment on my piece, because I really wanted to try these guys. They were, I think, the only, and they are the first Latino-owned brewery in Colorado. They do a bunch of, like, community reach out and a bunch of stuff with, like, the Latin culture around town, and I just really fuck with, like, their whole model of what they do. And they also have a badass brewer there that has brewed at different breweries. They've only been a brewery since 2017, and they've won I think they've won like 4 awards since then, including the one that we're drinking now, Rays, which they won, I think, a gold medal for in 2017 on Bohemian Pilsners, which this is a Bohemian Pilsner, which just means it's like kind of
from Bohemia.
The style is.
All right.
But I think this is like your kind of the most traditional Pilsner you could drink would be this kind of style. Bohemian Pilsner or 𝗀 would be the first one ever brewed. But it's just usually fantastic beer. I love this style. We'll see how it is.
Well, I fuck with their logo. I mean, normally I'm not a fan of logos that are too intricate, and this is like an incredibly intricate logo. But it works because of what they do, so it's like it's all right. And I just really like the idea. They turned a hop into like an Indio mask. That shit's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's tight.
You didn't know? Yeah, check that shit out, dude. It's like it's a hop, but they did it like Mayan style, like it's hard as fuck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to drink out of this 40, bro.
Hell yeah. What do you think, Eric? What do you think of the beer? Have you tried it? Given it a sip?
That is a beer. That is a beer.
Damn it.
Sorry. Cerveza.
Cerveza más bueno.
Right, but it is just a beer, right? It's just a light
but
lager.
this is a beer that I like. Like that's what I like about it is that it's
Hell
just
yeah.
a beer. All that other extra shit you be bringing is off the meat rack sometimes, boys. And I ain't ready for that shit.
I mean, it's just a beer to us, right? Like this is there's other places in the world where this beer style isn't as popular as what we know it as in America. Right?
Raíces? Like how do you say that?
Raíces.
Raíces? So there's like hearty.
Raíces. Yep.
And then the name of the beer is what I said earlier because I can't say the brewery name either. The name of the beer is on the bottom corner. See, because all the labels are the same. They just
this one's called Raíz.
Yeah.
Raíz.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's what does that mean in Spanish?
I believe it's root.
Sounds right to me.
Raíces is roots, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so raíz would be root, and this is like their flagship beer. And it, this is the one that they're always brewing this, and then they do all kinds of other stuff. They have a stout out. They have a fucking Belgian double out. They have a bunch of cool stuff out, but I wanted to bring this one as their flagship, and I brought a couple more for us to sip on too. Not so much talk about them, but we can drink them. Have a couple more up there. But yeah, I really dig this beer. At first, to be honest, I drank it and I was like, I don't know if I like it. But then as soon as I swallowed it, the finish is so goddamn clean. Like the bitterness on the finish is just so nice. Like I don't know. It keeps you wanting to drink it again and again. And it just leaves you with that nice little like clean mouthfeel. But then also like has that little like lingering bitterness on the back of your palate. I don't know. I like it. It's delicious. It's like what I find you miss in like beers like Modelo. You don't get that like extra flavor like that kind of
bitter.
stays
Yeah,
in
that's
your
trash.
mouth. You know?
Yeah, that's the worst part about this beer.
Is it a limited brew that they made off of these ones, or I'm just looking at the website and they have a cooler label on there?
Well, with the crowlers, they use one label for the crowlers. They just slap it on and then they put the details on it. But like their actual branding for each beer, I think they have branding for each specific beer, especially their flagships, where they probably actually sell them in like 6-packs and stuff. But
it might be the 25 ounce. No, it says 32 ounces on there.
the 32 and 25. Well, also the label, I think on all the pictures when you go to like look at the shop, all the label is the Manguito, I think is the name of their mango beer.
Yep.
And I think all the pictures are actually just a picture of that can, the Manguito one.
Yeah, that's tight though. It's a good beer though.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it.
Super solid. And price point, it's not crazy expensive. You can't find their stuff too much. I think they're going to start distributing very lightly because they're just a tiny little brewery. Like the two people that were there today was, I believe it was one of the owners and then one employee. And those are it's a small little operation. It has a nice building. It's right in like the little armpit southwest of I-25 in like Colfax. Kind of like in that little area.
Gotcha.
Kind of by the stadium where you wind those roads.
Mm-hmm.
It's down over there, and I don't know. I'm excited. There was a food truck in the parking lot that smelled so darn good this afternoon when I was there from Puerto Rico. It was a Puerto Rican food truck because the brewer is Puerto Rican, and so he's been brewing in Puerto Rico for a long time, I guess, and then came here, brewed for Dry Dock in Aurora, and then I think brewed somewhere else, either in Puerto Rico, and then started brewing with these guys when they started the company, and he's one of 3 people that owns the brewery. But hell yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get to go and hang out there. It looked like a cool spot. I only got to like stand in the foyer. I don't know. What's that? How do you say that word?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I know rapping Forte.
Yeah,
It's kind of like if you're dedicating something for Kanye West, Fourier.
That makes more sense. This was Fourier. That's what I'm going to think about every time I walk into a Fourier.
Fourier.
I hope he hears this and then makes a song called Fourier.
Every Fourier ever is dedicated to him.
Hell yeah.
That does sound like a Kanye rap lyric too.
Hell yeah.
To wrap the word Fourier with the word Fourier.
Hell yeah. Something clever though.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. A lot of people don't fuck with Kanye West. Why do you think that is?
He's a lot to handle.
Sure. That's it.
But I honestly think, like, I've stood by it for a while, that I do think Kanye West is a genius, and it's sometimes hard to deal with, like, a genius, especially like him, who is so open at certain times about things. And I fuck with Kanye West, you know that. And
do I know that?
I think you never think I do, and you want to yell about it all the time.
No, I think we've had arguments about where you was talking about Kanye West, and I was like, hold up now, boy. I don't know what the fuck we over there talking about. You was all mad at him for
I get mad at Kanye.
for doing stuff.
You don't get mad at Kanye?
No, for what? I don't know that motherfucker. Right?
I guess I don't get mad.
For what?
Sometimes I'm like disappointed. I'm like, dang. But then he usually bounces back, and I try and like
Some people
see
do
his
get
point
mad.
of view. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I really enjoy his music a lot, and I like everything he does. I do want to kind of see what's going on, and I love to see the response as well. Like how people respond to Kanye West is probably my most interest now around Kanye West, is seeing how people do respond to the shit he does. Because sometimes it is pretty like, whoa, buddy, I don't know where you're coming from on this one. And then sometimes I'm like, no, I see where you're coming from.
I just think he's.
And then sometimes it's like 5 years later, I'm like, oh.
I think
now I get
he thinks special. And because of that, sure, make him a genius at some things. Being social, I don't think, is one of them. I think it makes him socially awkward. And in that, I think he used to be, it was easier for him when people didn't know him as much. Which I'm sure he probably didn't like as much, but it was easier then. And now that people know him, it's like, now he has like a real hard time understanding like the social dynamics of stuff like that he does sometimes. But in reality, like, I don't hold that against him. I don't think that, like, I think, again, he comes off misconstrued a lot. You know, like he's trying to say one thing and he says something else in almost an arrogant manner, but that's not really what he meant. And if you strip away the arrogance and you take it down to, like, if you read it as a fact, then when you read it that way, it doesn't, like, if somebody else were to read it that way as a fact, it wouldn't sound nearly as atrocious as when it's coming from his mouth about stuff. So then all of a sudden you're like, you're fucking arrogant. And you know what you do, you know, and I don't think he really means that. Like, I think he's just like, you know, sometimes he's acknowledging shit, and just the way he processes shit. Same with Elon Musk, right? No doubt a genius. Apparently one of the weirdest motherfuckers on planet Earth. You know, Steve Jobs was no doubt a genius, but an asshole and very unsocial. Like he wasn't good at that. That's not what he was good at. You know, but what he was good at was setting a particular goal and then accomplishing that goal, which might sound like, you know, real little, but not a lot of people could do it at that level.
Right. Let me bring you back to Kanye real quick.
What up?
I'm curious because one big sticking point that was for me, and I think for a lot of people, is when Kanye came out wearing that red MAGA hat. Mm-hmm. And so I remember you had something to say about that when it happened. We had a conversation about it. This was, 2 years ago, I want to say.
It's the reason this podcast started.
It's one of them. Yeah, that was like one of those conversations that was first OG over in the 39th building.
So?
But I just wanted to hear what you had to say about that again. And because I know my position is changed on that whole idea and around that with Kanye. I was just curious what you think or what you had to say then, because I don't remember.
So again, in that he doesn't understand the social dynamics of stuff sometimes, because sometimes I think in like fashion he does understand, right? Better than people want to admit that he does. You know,
I think a lot of the shit he said in the fashion stuff was just ahead of its time.
Sure. And so here's what, if again, and you guys could go back and watch this shit. Don't watch the fucking CNN paraphrase of it. Go watch the real actual raw footage of this dude wearing the MAGA hat the first time and then explaining it. And he's trying to explain, in my mind, this is what I think. I have no idea. I'm not trying to speak for him. But in my mind, he's trying to explain that it's not about being a Trump supporter or not. Like, wearing it doesn't represent that. What he's representing by wearing it is the openness of being free enough to do anything. And that he doesn't care what anybody else thinks of him so much that he'll wear that hat. He'll rock that hat. The hat that nobody else says you should rock. He'll rock it. So that, just to prove that he will do it all and he doesn't care what you think. And that's what he was trying to get off. Now, because he doesn't care what people think, that's what makes him good at what he does, because he could do that shit without the fear of feeling like you fucking it up. That's what like stops the rest of us, right? We're all stopped by that kind of shit. He wasn't being stopped by that. He instead was like, I'll wear it for that sense. So then people got all mad and started being all funny about him, about like being a Trump supporter, this and that. And so then he came out and was like, well, look, those are just people too. Like, those are my people. I love Trump. I don't know him. I don't know what's up with that, but I love all human beings. So Trump is my brother. I love that dude. And again, he was just doing DMT and shit in Wyoming. You know what I'm saying? Going all crazy and getting all spiritual. And so I think a lot of that was not only misconstrued, but misparaphrased. So they would throw it, you know, the headline funny. They would say pull a little quote of what he said. I love Donald Trump. And then, you know, picture wearing the MAGA hat, and there's a headline for you. And it was like, people didn't actually pay attention. And then when they did, a lot of times they were already convinced. Like, they were already told one thing. They already didn't like it. They are, you know, whatever. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But I don't know. I watched that shit and I'm like, you know, when he got funny on Sway, I mean, well, that's extra, sure. I know what it's like to be frustrated and feel like motherfuckers ain't listening to you. Now, would I do that? Hopefully not, you know. But I'm trying to empathize at least. Like, I know what it's like to be frustrated. You know what I mean? And what if somebody caught me in a really frustrated moment and I don't know what kind of stress is going on? I don't know what it feels like to be kept out like that and, you know, on some funny stuff. And it's like, you know, you're trying to talk to somebody about it. And again, I don't think he understands the social dynamics. So in his mind, he's hoping for somebody that'll like hear what he's saying. And Sway's job is to ask the opposite question. And, you know, and then it sets him off, and it's like a thing. And, you know, and then people are like, oh, yeah, he's so fucking weird, so crazy. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's weird. But, like, an asshole? I don't know. No more than Michael Jordan. Everybody loves that motherfucker. And he's an asshole.
Asshole.
Straight up asshole. And y'all love that motherfucker, so I don't get it.
Agreed. Kanye is just, like you said, not afraid. Because, like, a lot of people who are rich and famous that we all love do some really evil, terrible shit behind the scenes that we don't know about, right? And even not so terrible shit. Ones that are just, like, supporting Trump because they know it's good for their bottom line in terms of their money, right? And they support him just because of that. But they do it privately. And Kanye West is brave enough to not even...
But, again, I don't think he was supporting him.
Right. But brave enough to even, like, break down a boundary that is so obvious between people, especially on something like a garment that's so simple but also so I don't know what the right word is here. I'm not good at this word, but like so important to our culture.
Photosynthesis.
That was it.
That's the one.
I'm pretty good about knowing that word, but social dynamic words I'm not so good about, and like psychology words.
Ooh, zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
Don't know what that means.
As part of the modern culture or something like that?
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. I don't know what zeitgeist is either. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And then it's like, you know, people get mad at him for it. And then, you know, if he truly doesn't give a fuck, then his stance is to double down. You know, and then people get mad at that. And it's like, anyways, and even like Kim Kardashian. Yo, I am not a fan of the Kardashians. I think that is one of the most terrible... like just empty calorie garbage pieces of like television.
So you mean the Kardashians as a show, not a family?
They are. That's what they are. Is that all day long to everybody? It's what they are. Is that show? So that's the point.
I mean,
the
they
Kardashians
are
like
also
that.
like billionaires,
but listen,
and are fairly like good. Like, I mean, they run some businesses.
But do you remember too when Kanye and Kim, when Kanye and Kim both met with Donald Trump, And everybody was up in arms about it and acted all funny.
Yeah,
Why is she doing this? Why is that? Blah, 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 blah. Yo, she got like, I don't know how many, but a few at least, prisoners that were wrongly convicted released on Donald Trump's order by talking to that fool.
Pardoned.
Like,
I think they got their like president.
they're out, dude. They're out. They were wrongly convicted and they're gone now. And now they're free people. They're normal. Like, and people were like hating on Kim Kardashian. Why is Kim Kardashian? Why is she even with the president? Who gives a fuck? Who does it? Look, man, Donald Trump wasn't letting off nobody.
What makes her any different than the same shit that Michelle Obama does with all that stuff that gets all the positive press and all that shit? But it's easier to love them. She's an Obama. She's Michelle Obama. But when somebody who like Kim Kardashian does something like that, that's connected to Kanye West through all this shit, everyone wants to sweat her and be like, what the fuck is she doing there? Like, she doesn't belong there. Be like, what do you mean she doesn't belong there? And that's the biggest thing too, that where Kanye can put on a hat and he gets to enter politics. That's fucking crazy. That's how, because Kanye wants to get into politics, he put on a fucking hat and he did it.
I don't think he's mentally stable enough for Congress, but
I don't think he wants to get into politics, but he got into politics by putting on a hat, because that meeting happened because he put that hat on, because he got Trump's attention. The same thing like people in the UFC do, like 𝗶𝗶𝘂𝗶𝗆𝗍𝗃 Covington, and like who Trump wants attention from some of these folks, or maybe he doesn't want it, but he loves it.
No,
He's
he
like,
loves attention.
I love
from everyone, dude.
Right? Especially people though that are controversial, that it can make a news story, right? Because the only thing that was worthwhile for Trump is like, great, another news cycle that we could pass over all the other things that we're doing that we don't want the news cycle to talk about. They wouldn't anyway. They'd find some other shit to complain about or talk about or whatever. But I don't know. I think that whole move or whatever it was, maybe it was honest, maybe it was planned, maybe it was strategic. I don't know. That's the thing that I love about Kanye is like, I don't know. Like sometimes you see an angle that he played 3 years ago and you're like, oh shit. Like with the fashion shit where I remember seeing when that shit came out, I was like, And then a couple years later, it like transformed.
Yeah, but that's because his first drop was even a political statement.
Right.
And everybody hated on him for it. Everybody was like, oh, you're going to try to fucking sell people in the hood these fucking, ripped ass, dirty looking, hobo looking clothes and this and that and charge $1,000. Like, no, motherfucker, y'all weren't listening. His whole point was that the fucking, the pop culture, the majority whites of the pop culture were culture vultures. And they were taking from everything from the hip hop culture and the urban community. Everything that was cool, first they would say that it was trash, degrade them for it, then steal it and make a bunch of money off of it. And it was like a whole thing that they've been doing already for like 10 years. So here in the end of like 2010, this dude comes out and he's all like, yo, these people are such sheep, this and that, blah, 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 that I bet I could do that. I could, first of all, I know fashion. And second of all, I know that if I ran that fashion, that this is what the hood is wearing. Because it is what we're wearing. We're wearing dirty ass clothes. We're broke. Ain't nobody out there trying to help us. He's like, so those would be the clothes that I sell to those motherfuckers for all the money. And all anybody heard was that it was like this selfish thing for money. And it was like, oh my God. So like, and it worked. He had these rich white kids running around in fucking sweaters with holes in them.
Yep. And now he's got people running around with fucking $600 Yeezys on their feet from the same marketing, same company that he started then, turned into what is now the Yeezy Boosts and like the partnerships with Adidas, like all the fashion shit that he does, where like now I even hear you more where Kanye has continued to use fashion as a way to enter politics, or at least to shake politics up, because at least from my experience with that hat and what that said, when I was like trying to figure out like, how do I feel about this? Because it was an easy reaction to just be like, tie it to Trump. And you know, you can just cut and dry and like, let that be in your mind that if you see somebody in that hat, they're a Trump supporter, period. Right. And I remember, I wish I knew who this article was from, but they talked about how this is like one of the first times we've seen white people have to experience like a visual, like prejudice immediately. Like white people don't normally have to do that. They have the privilege of when you're white, you get to walk around and what you look like is safe enough to do. You know, you can walk around and nobody really like messes with you too much in the places you go. You guys know what I mean? By messes, like, you know, fucks with you. But you put that hat on and you're a white person, all of a sudden you get treated poorly by a lot of people, just like everybody who's not white in this country gets treated by a lot of people. And it was the first time that we see Like, I feel like, well, the first time I've ever noticed a garment or anything like that around white people where it's something that if you have that on, you were automatically like turned against. Like you were the enemy when you had that hat on. It didn't matter what you looked like, anything. If that hat was on your head, you were the fucking enemy to so many people. And it's weird to see that or think about that from a perspective of a white person. I feel like it was like I had to check, like, damn, I do walk around with all that privilege where I never, like, I don't have that interaction where people dislike me just because of the way that I look very often. Sometimes it does. It happens because I've put myself in those situations where there are no other white people around. And when you're the only one and you're 6'4", you stick out a little bit. And the thing, all the communities, though, that I've done that in are so accepting and nice. It's mostly like my own mind, you know, my own fears that are coming into what I feel like.
Well, and it is, I'm sure it is like a little different because, you know, like, you're not like from there. You're not the normal person that motherfuckers would be having these conversations with like that. But that doesn't, you know, shouldn't have any effect on how they treat you and shit, for sure.
Right.
People are just people.
Right. Exactly. And them putting a hat on or not, or even if they are a Trump supporter and they have that hat on, there's no reason that I should like treat that person as an enemy or treat that person any differently than a person I would without that hat on. You know, like, it's shitty of me to just assume because they support a political candidate that they're a bad person. Like, that's whack as fuck. And like, I can't stand how much shit people talk about Trump supporters or how dumb our country is for like how many people support him. It's like,
if you're
fuck
this,
you.
if you're this or that, or you wear this hat, or you think this, just unfriend me. And it's like, foo, unless you're talking about fucking kids, like, yo, you gotta take it easy, boy. Like,
hell yeah,
like,
LRBT drives a hard line on pedophiles. We do not.
No doubt, all day. But it's, you know, it's like, how do you
Joe Biden?
No fucking doubt. But you know, it's man, I don't know, man. And not only that, bringing it just back to Kanye for one more second, because again, I think he gets, like, people forget that 10 years before he did that, he fucking was asked to be a part of a national telethon with all kinds of other celebrities to raise funds for the Hurricane Katrina victims, and he used his opportunity to jump in off script and say George Bush doesn't care about black people. And when straight up on national TV, live, nobody could cut it. They cut to Chris Tucker's or something like that, and this was yeah, or maybe he was with Seinfeld or something too, or something. And they're just like, everybody's just trying to be normal and just talk it through. Like, holy shit, we weren't supposed to be on yet. Did he really just say that?
And then when he did the same shit at that movie or that music awards ceremony, when fucking he stood up and was like, "Fuck you, Taylor Swift."
Like, yeah, Taylor Swift shit was tight, but
Beyonce had the best album of that year. Or what did he say? Beyonce's album was the best one.
Yes, and he was arrogant. He was an asshole.
But he was
right.
That,
whatever. But he was right. He was absolutely right. There was no way that Beyonce's album, that was the fucking single ladies album.
Like, I see him.
The single ladies album. Beyonce had every single white lady in the fucking country doing this. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, that was the #1 album of the year, and they gave it to that girl's Crybaby album that everybody knew like one song from.
I couldn't name. Well, I don't know if I've heard one of those songs. Maybe, again, Target music. Like, I probably heard it fucking walking around Target, but I don't know any fucking Taylor Swift songs. I'm always surprised that when I see her name next to her face, I'm like, oh, right. It like reminds me that that's who that is. Because, like, I don't ever think about her.
that person exists.
It's like, oh, that's what Taylor Swift looks like. I hear her name more than I ever see her face or care to. And so, yep. Taylor. The last thing on Kanye then, to wrap it up. That's the thing about him is I'd never know if he's being strategic because, like, we see patterns in his behavior of, like, interrupting things and, like,
he does that shit on impulse.
But
that is
also,
not strategic.
But he's doing the same moves in ways where, like, maybe it's not strategic. Maybe he is just really good at rolling with the punches when he's like, well, I did that, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do about it to make sure that, like, I catch the brand back and put it in the right place because he always does, too. Or he just takes time. Now he just has to take time off. Like, we just see him disappear for a while, let it forget, and then Kanye will pop back up in the next 6 months. I guarantee it. He'll be back in our minds again before the end of 2020. He's got to be. He's been silent through all this, and I'm sure that he's working on something. He's doing something. Man, I love Kanye West. That's all I got to say about him.
Yeah, I'm mad at Kanye West at all, dude. And what was I just about to say? Oh, one of my favorite things about, because again, I think that's just the way he is, and I think he's just misunderstood because he's so impulsive. And I don't think he's planning none of that shit. And one of my favorite things, like stories about him, was the story that Dave Chappelle told. I think it was like Jimmy Fallon, or someone like one of those talk shows like that, where he was telling
Should we link it?
Oh yeah, we will for sure.
Should we link it?
Hell yeah! But he was telling that dude that it was when Common, I think, that Common and Kanye West had a song coming out. It was like Kanye's debut, and before the song got released or did anything else, they were gonna they got this opportunity, whatever, maybe, or something like that, to debut it, I believe, on Dave Chappelle's show. So that was the corner. And remember the corner, and that was Common and Kanye West, and it was like Kanye West, like national debut type of like almost kind of thing. I'm sure he'd been out a little bit, but nobody really knew who he was yet.
This doesn't sound familiar.
And so I guess Common was, because Common's from Chicago, and so Dave was like, "Yo, like come through, blah 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 blah." And this dude was like, "Well, I'm gonna bring my homie Kanye West. He's gonna do a song. He's gonna do a rapper, producer. He's gonna be really good. This and that." And Dave's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Never met this dude, never even heard of him. And they get there to the spot, and this dude Kanye walks in there, and just like the confidence he had was just stupid. And he was just walking around acting like he owned everything, like he knew what was up and like everything, And he said that he was like, they were doing some kind of activity, and Kanye got a phone call, and so he answers it or whatever, and he's talking on the phone, and he's all like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm here on the Dave Chappelle show. Because my life is dope and I do dope shit."
Can you imagine what they said? The Dave Chappelle show? What the fuck is that? What are you doing there?
Oh my God. Yo, and it's such a broad stroke of what I feel like his character is like. Sure. And again, it might be kind of arrogant, but it's still kind of funny. But it's, and at the same time, he's only doing it because he's right. Like, yo, he knows that when he talks about that he changed hip hop, he's just that I'm influenced hip hop, blah, blah, blah. He did. You know what I mean? Like him and Dipset set the standard for beats for like a decade.
At least, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, yo, like just the
Kanye gets on a track, or now that he's producing even more, like the shit that he's producing changes. Like
the shit that he's put together, each one he does, the next one is always like the next step that's gonna be taken, or a step that, you know what I mean, might like, yo, man, it's never the same thing. Like, yo, he's good at what he does, and he knows it, and so he'll talk about it. But I don't think I don't think he, sees it as arrogant for any other reason than it's in his mind a fact. Which in my mind, it's a fact too. So.
I think a lot of it is he's just stream of consciousness, especially like when he says that crazy shit. And I think
what do you mean?
To emphasize like what you mentioned, that he's just saying what he's thinking. He doesn't process it. He doesn't take it through a filter of like, I'm on TV, I should probably not say this shit. He's just saying it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's even extra when he's like in those situations where at least, I don't know, from what I see Kanye, what inspires me from Kanye is that I feel like he especially goes out there and be like, I'm not going to let them change my behavior.
Yeah.
And that might even make him do crazier stuff, because an idea that pops into your head when you have the idea that I'm not going to let anybody stop me from doing what I want, and an idea that might not have popped in your head if you weren't thinking that way pops in your head, and you jump on stage and start yelling about, and I don't know. I admire it. I admire Kanye for a lot of this, because I feel some of those that same like social, like it's tough to be social for me sometimes, especially in like different environments. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's hard to like say what's on my mind. And I definitely feel at least if that is what it is from what you're coming from, and it sounds like it makes sense, because at least the way that I feel about some of that stuff is the same way I hear you talking about it with him, and like I admire him for his bravery and all this shit, and across his whole like spectrum of work, it's brave a lot of the times, and sometimes it doesn't seem like it is, because it does take over so quickly. It's just that fucking good. But again, I already said that's all I had to say about Kanye.
Just to close out on Kanye West, you guys should check out the podcast Dissolve. Season 2 of it. Well, the first season goes through To Pimp a Butterfly, track by track. Every episode is a track off of the album.
What's it called?
Dissolve.
I thought it was Dissect or something.
Oh, Dissect. That's the one. My bad.
You told me about it.
Oh, it's tight. The second album goes over my dark.
Beautiful. Oh yeah. Boy.
Oh, it's
Goes
tight.
over what?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah,
That's my favorite Kanye album.
dude. Like the first 2 or 3
I also
episodes
didn't
are
listen
like,
to Kanye until that album.
yeah,
I was a
oh,
hater
no.
until then.
Oh, it's tight. Like the first 3 episodes is just kind of establishing Kanye West because he was like, by that point he was already big enough. He already said all that controversial shit, and there was like the album that came out after the VMAs where he said all that shit. Everybody got mad at him. He knew he had to do something big to come back so that people don't hate him, and it was that album, and I think it's one of the best albums ever written.
Hell yeah. Can I grab one beer and maybe let's switch topics because each of us has tried to close out the Kanye conversation
Hey,
individually.
the motherfucker's
Hey,
interesting,
it's
boy.
a Kanye West
Shit.
special.
If y'all hate Kanye, just tell me why in the comments, and I'll tell you why you're wrong next episode.
Well, what I was gonna say is that
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else to say because the dude's interesting.
anytime that I've asked anybody about Kanye, the one thing that they isn't the MAGA hat. It's actually the slavery was a choice comment. And that's just a quote out of like a long rant. That's like the one thing, and I hate it.
And he was trying to say like something philosophical about slavery. He wasn't saying anything literally like these foods are literally choosing, and it wasn't. You know, he was trying to make a philosophical, albeit wrong, probably, understanding of what he was learning about slavery. And I mean, it's like, man, can we commend a motherfucker for trying to learn about stuff? You know what I mean? Like, why does everything got to be like fucking sound bites? Anyways, I hope they soundbite me one day. Fuck you guys. Soundbite that shit.
Oh, we have so many sound bites probably of both of us that is like stuff that
You racist, boy. That's why.
all white people are racist. Justin,
We'll throw
don't
up
you know that?
a soundboard with all of our racist comments from this podcast.
Hell yeah.
A soundboard so you can just like repeat it again.
Yeah,
Just hit that shit on your voicemail, old school style.
that might be episode 30. We might have like a little thing that just sample.
Just samples of Steven being racist.
Hell yeah.
Or
Wow.
you'll say something and it'll just bring you up saying
Fantastic.
that's racist.
Fantastic, yeah.
I think that's gonna work, guys. I think we're onto something.
Hell yeah. I mean Kanye music. You guys ever hear music?
Yeah. Sometimes I hear music.
Tight. Have you
pretty
heard
cool.
any recently?
You want to know the most recent song I heard?
And we heard this before the podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was that one too. Shit, I actually forgot all about that one. That was Everyone Else Has Had More Sex Than Everyone Else Has Had More Sex Than Me. Everybody else just went like, what the fuck is that? Look, dude, when you've been on the internet as long as me, you've seen some memes since way back in the day. And that was an old meme from way back in the day. Shout out any computer nerds who just finished the lyrics to that. No, but I was going to say it was that 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝐶𝗴 6ix9ine joint that he released today.
Yeah, I heard you giggle about it earlier. What's so funny about it?
I think it's called Goob.
Because people are weird and I don't understand. Well, you know what? I do understand. Somebody asked me, I think it was Joe, asked me if I thought that his career was over. And I said, no, not at all. People don't care.
At all.
And
They might even care more now.
hey, especially this generation of
Is
kids.
he in jail?
Not anymore. He got out for COVID. They let him out. They were going to let him out this year anyways, but they let him out early for good time in COVID.
And so he put out a song
Today.
called Goob.
And it's he put out a whole video.
Really? That shit didn't even come up. So like I check every Friday. I check my new releases on Spotify, and it does
today,
tailor.
like 2:00 today.
Oh, so I do it in the morning, and so sometimes I do miss some stuff.
For
That's why I
Friday
didn't see
releases,
it.
they'll do like Thursday, 10 o'clock here.
Yeah,
It
was some ungodly amount of views in like the first 5 minutes. Here, I'm gonna look it up. I'll tell you exactly what it was.
I no longer have
Why?
the Wi-Fi password on my phone, so I can't look it up.
Did you change it? My shit won't connect to your shit either at the undisclosed location.
500,000 in 6 minutes.
Fuck.
Why?
500,000 views.
I
in
really
6
don't-
minutes.
I don't know. I don't know if I probably listened to a song of his, not Target Music.
They all sound exactly the same.
But why
including
do
this
people
one.
like it? Like, isn't he just like Florida Post Malone, which is not much different? Oh, it's this kind of shit. That's right.
That's it for the whole thing. Now, if you tell me that's not going to be the #1 song on TikTok by Monday, man, it's like not even that. Let me say this. I think it's going to be the #1 song on TikTok by Monday. And if I'm wrong, I don't know shit about the internet.
Then you got to slam another one of them Sour Patch beers.
If I'm wrong, I'll fucking shotgun one of these.
A crowler?
One of these fucking 40s you brought.
See, the thing about TikTok is that like it's not usually the mainstream songs that are like big on there, unless if they're made specifically like
His are.
𝗶𝗧𝘂𝗶𝗆𝗯𝗍 slide.
His were going on. That's the reason he still did it that style, is because his went first when it was still Musically. Before it was TikTok. He was one of the first ones to blow up on that shit. And have all them kids dancing to his shit. I can feel the tempo of that shit. It make me want to do that same thing you see on the TikToks. And I'm like, oh, goddamn, these kids are going to do it. Watch. By Monday.
Oh, it's called 𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗯𝗍.
Look up 𝗶𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗯𝗍 on TikTok right now. See where it's at. We're like, what is it? We're like 6 hours in. I think.
Wow. That did remind me of now I remember why people like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 6ix9ine. That little.
Before he was a snitch, I liked it. I wasn't bumping it or nothing, but I didn't hate it. I always thought it was hype. If I was about to go to battle or something, you know what I'm saying? Damn. You catch me out in like Iraq, strapped, I might be listening to that song first. You know what I mean?
I hear you. Definitely hype is the right word for it. I don't know. I mean, I try and think of like anything else that I listen to a little bit like that.
Licky with the spliffy,
I have no idea what he's saying most of the time. Like I just hear like shout, 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 shout. Like he just like the cadence
sounds just like him,
right?
Yeah.
And it does have that like little shoulder kind of like movie beat where it like hits on that. It's like 120 beats per minute, just like a little bit faster. I don't know. It's just it all seems formulated. Like a lot of music like that is like very formulated, and that's why I can't fuck with too much of it, where it's like you hear one song and it all sounds the same because they're just following a formula, putting different lyrics over it, saying different fucking fill lines of stupid Nicki with the spliffies, and like I guess I don't listen to it, so maybe I don't know.
Looking at you, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, release one song.
He just put out an
over
album.
and over again.
He put out an album 2 weeks ago, I think DaBaby did.
No, I think you're talking about Lil Baby.
No, I think DaBaby.
DaBaby
Put out an album, because then he put out a deluxe one the week after. He did, and then today came out. Young Thug and fucking Chris Brown put out an album today together. I was going to listen to it because I like Young Thug, but then I saw that Chris Brown was on every track, like it's an album together, and I was like, oh, sorry about that. Can't listen to Chris Brown.
No.
That's a hard line in the sand. Sorry, Young Thugger.
No doubt.
Can't do this one. That one, you're on your own.
Do not fuck with woman beaters.
Nope. And so
whatsoever.
Who else came out with an album today? I heard one called Nav. Somebody called Nav, because like the features on it were crazy. The features are like Young Thug, Future, Offset, maybe not Offset.
He's on
like a bunch of like Atlanta folks.
None of those features made me want to listen to whatever you're talking about.
Gunna has become more popular again somehow.
Nav is on is it the XO on the Weeknd's crew?
I don't know. He put an album today.
I know he's part of like the Weeknd's crew. Let's see: Young Thug, Future, Gunna and Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, Gunna, Pop Smoke, Young Thug, Don Toliver, Lil Durk, and yeah, man,
do a fucking album by your goddamn self. Stop piggybacking off everybody.
He had a couple songs that are like
Hashtag
him,
J.
but
Cole.
like I can't get into his music. He's that like I understand how he's gotten big. It's remember when Drake dropped Started From the Bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was saying that it was like low energy, started from the bottom, now we're here. Nav does every song like that. It's that talking like I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, that'll happen. I like motherfuckers that could rap, you know what I mean?
Or sing or do anything other than just be backed up by cool producers. That's tight that you know those people, but put the effort into it.
No doubt.
Yeah. Stop following the formula so closely.
Nah, but you know what? Some people like that, man. That's the thing.
That's what pop music is, though. A lot of people like it. And pop music is built by the formula that people like. Like,
Sure.
this has been known for a while.
Yeah, but that was also with the industry. We're not talking about industry music like that anymore. A lot of this stuff is a lot more independent. And so they're doing, of course, what gets them views and stuff, but they're also doing what they end up liking and what they're inspired by. It's just that all the shit that they're inspired, it's like, this is the kind of canned shit you kind of end up with when you're inspired by a bunch of canned shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's also, you know, in that same way, I feel like right now, as far as hip hop has been more diverse than I've heard it in a long time. And the thing is that while all the popular music sure doesn't sound as diverse, there are a lot of subgenres that have broken off since that are inspired by way, in my opinion, doper times, doper styles, and doper influences that are like fresh. And, you know, and they don't always make it like the top, whatever. And I'm sure that's everybody's goal and whatever. But there are definitely like, you know what I mean, niche type rivers of hip hop and music overall that's just like fresh outside of what's supposed to be popular. And it's got a lot more traction now because of the internet.
Like crazy different genres, like parts of hip hop that like I never never enter into. Like one, for instance, is like the realm where like Tech Nine and
Tech Nine.
I guess you could include like maybe ICP
Stamina
in that group, and like all like a lot of that. I don't know what you call those rappers or like what genre that is, but it's like I have a lot of respect for them, but I don't listen to that. And now more than ever, like the availability of music and the availability of people putting music onto a platform that millions of people can access and like get to is more than ever, which I think is part of why all music is becoming more diverse. I feel like more like styles of rock and roll and country, like the like OG ones that were maybe made popular by a few people, you know, nationally, are now becoming, you know, brought back from areas of the country that it was popular there. Now it can like expand across the whole nation because we can hear songs from Texas, we can hear songs from Louisiana.
Hell yeah.
And like I love it. I love this like point of music. I love the availability of how easy it is to spread it and to get it right now. And I don't know. It's exciting because we'll see what happens with music and we'll see what happens in the future in terms of live music. I'm really nervous for that. Like that's one of the things that during this time I've like really been missing is live music, especially live hip hop, where we had a fall that I felt like was one of the best falls of hip hop that we've gotten in a long time. It was just like week after week of amazing artists coming through here. And then it just was like December kind of cut off for the holidays. And then there was a few good shows early this year that I missed. I didn't go to, unfortunately.
Oh, I wanted to go check out Griselda. I fucking missed him, and it was like
What was
week.
that?
It was like that week before we went on the stay-at-home joint that Griselda was here. And I was
before that, even that they moved it to like June. What was that? It was like fucking
Most Def and Busta Rhymes.
Was it that one or was it? I thought it was De La Soul. I thought it was De La Soul.
Oh,
that they
maybe
moved that show because it was supposed to happen in like.
Wait, who was on the
February.
De La
A bunch
Soul?
of people. It might have actually Busta might have been on that card because there was a ton of people on that, and it was at that new venue that rocked. I did get to go there twice to go check out. What's the new venue called?
That rocks. Which one?
The newest one that's like brand new.
Oh, the brand new venue.
The
The
Moon
one that's-
Room, or I think it is the Moon Room.
No, that's not it. It's maybe something room. It's over by like where the rodeo happens and shit.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it right now. Who knows
Something
if those are-
ballroom. It's
who-
the something ballroom.
Mission
Oh.
Ballroom.
Mission
That's
Ballroom. Yep.
Who knows how many of those will even be open? I don't know about that, boy. Don't know about that.
Yeah.
That's on the table. Yeah, man. There's a lot of shit. The Under the Big Sky Fest got postponed from July of this year to July of next year.
Ooh, a
So-
full 12 months.
And everybody was able to re-sign except for like 4, including Billy Strings can't make it, boy.
Damn.
I wanted to see him live so bad, boy. He must have something else scheduled already, though.
Ooh, there was one new person I wanted to share with y'all.
Who?
But he's not even on Spotify, or at least I couldn't find him on Spotify.
Who?
Let me find his name. I don't remember his last name, but I don't want to fuck it up.
All right.
Fiasco. First name Lupe.
That's it. That was it. You've
Yeah.
heard of him?
Yeah.
Who?
Lupe Fiasco?
Who?
He's a hip hop artist.
He's a rock star. What's up? You gonna show us, or what are you doing here?
His name is 𝗶𝗃𝗯𝗃.
𝗶𝗃𝗯𝗃. I feel like I've heard that before.
Maybe. He's a fucking powerful singer. But I don't think it's anything's on Spotify. But I follow him on Instagram, and he puts up shit there. And I think he has a Bandcamp or some shit like that.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, since we're talking about diversity in hip hop, while he pulls that up, I want to get your guys' opinion on what I call TikTok hip hop.
Okay.
Nick, you're stupid.
That's the voice he does on all his songs.
I'm not sure what you mean by tick hop hip hop.
TikTok.
TikTok.
It's just big on the app.
TikTok. Boy, we've been talking about TikTok for 20 minutes.
I
You
know
ain't paying
that.
attention?
I don't understand what TikTok is. Like, when you say TikTok hip hop, is it music made for TikTok?
Yeah, it'd be like saying Facebook hip hop. Let me tell you guys how you think about Twitter hip hop. You hear what that is? It's supposed to be funny, it's supposed to be weird, and it's supposed to be so that other people take it and make weird videos on it on TikTok.
Okay, so that is
Look,
how it works.
This is how
I didn't
TikTok
know if I
works,
was
dude.
just
Everything on TikTok is typically a voiceover, or at least all the popular shit. They're all either voiceovers or dance overs of shit that's going on already. Everything.
Well, I
That's
get
what they are.
that. I get that part of it.
Well,
What
they're making hip hop songs for that.
I get it. What I didn't understand is, like, do people choose the songs, or are like the songs loaded in a database on like TikTok?
No, you choose whatever you want.
There's
You
a
just-
database, but you can also upload your own songs until they get copyright, and if they do, the cool creators on there actually like doing original content. But a lot of the really big stuff is just taking that sound clip and doing the dance, doing a joke to it, and this is one of the ones that got really big.
I see. Because I was wondering if I could do it with like the Wu-Tang intros, because that's the only thing like I feel like I really want to do is like all those old school Wu-Tang intros
Go
where it's
for
like it's one of those old Japanese or like martial arts films.
Mm-hmm. 36
And-
chambers.
Yeah, well, that's one of them, or the Flying Guillotine, or
Mhm,
the there's so many good ones. I think Five Venoms is one of the OG ones. There's a bunch of like, I think RZA at one point put out like a list of his favorite ones, or maybe that's in the Wu manual. Do you have the Wu manual?
Nope.
I have it, but I don't know where it is.
That sounds tight.
Yeah, I think the RZA and one of the other members wrote it, but it's just like it goes through like each person. And it's just like a chronological kind of like history of like nicknames and their verbiage of like what they meant when they said some shit in their songs, and like decoding it, and like Wu-Tang lore and like where it came from, and like it's cool. I've only read it once, and it was like 10 years ago, and I think I have it on one of my bookshelves right now. But I'll see if I can dig it up, because it's a cool book. And of course, the RZA wrote it. The RZA is always fucking working in one media or another, or like 4 medias or another all the time in one country or another.
Speaking of RZA produced a few of the joints, and then I think executive produced a gang of the joints on
Now, what's that?
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
What's the difference there between executive produce?
Executive produce is what they give you when you didn't really do much. You kind of like, they give you a credit for sitting with these fools, and you know, you listen to the song and you're like, oh, I think it'd be tight if you put this there, or oh, it'd be cool if you did this, and you kind of just like give your stuff. Or you know, I've seen them give executive producer labels to somebody who was just sitting in the studio. You know, like as like a shout out to their like mom. I know that there's been instances where people have given executive producer stuff to people so that they'll get royalties.
Yeah,
For that
like
purpose.
DJ Khaled and his son.
Yeah.
I think he put it on like all his whole new
Yeah,
album. Like,
and so there's not really a requirement for being an
Khaled's a
executive
genius,
producer.
dude.
That makes
But being a
sense.
producer means that you were one of the dudes with your hands on the boards, as far as it was concerned. But that's why you end up with songs that are produced by 5 people. And it's like, well, all 5 people were not there. I'm sure there was one main producer, somebody who was the composer of the initial joint, and then a lot of people touched it. And you know, if a producer comes in and says like, oh, that hi-hat's fresh, let me add like a small little shaker that hits every other 4th hi-hat or some shit like that. now they're a producer, and all they did was a shaker, you know. And that's the same thing with writing. So like you'll look at like tracks and shit, and they'll be like, you know, this person was on the song, and then you look at the writers, and it'll be like this person, this person, this person, this
Quick
person.
interjection. You can actually check that on Spotify. If you go into this, like the 3 dots on Spotify, you can go to, I think it's called credits or something like that. And it'll tell it's not accurate for a song. It's not accurate for every song, but especially bigger songs, it is. And it does update after a bit too. I think people are like, hey, what the fuck? Like, tag me in that shit. Like,
Yeah.
And so, but
Well,
you can check who the producers and the writers are.
But the thing is the writers get in there that same way. So it'd be like, shout out my dude Zay and all of us at the Diamond Boys. But obviously, I specifically
Diamond Boys.
like I specifically think about like songs with him where he would write the entire song. He put the entire song together, and then there would just be like one line and one verse where I was like, "Yo, I feel like you missed an opportunity to say something really cool." I would switch that word to this word, and he goes, "Oh shit, yeah, that is better." The entire song is his. You know what I mean? I didn't come up with all the stuff that led to that word. No, nothing. It was just something where like I saw an opportunity. And so in that sense, if we were being all like technical about stuff, they would have thrown my name on there as a writer type of thing. You know? And so when people see a bunch of writers, they're like, oh yeah, that person must have ghostwriters. And it's like, well, no, that's not always how it works. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you say some shit, and then the higher ups, these other people that aren't even writers will come in and be like, hey man, you can't say that. So Or you know, maybe they are writers and they just have suggestions. Like, hey, that's cool, but we, you know, that kind of sounds like this here, and maybe, you know, this might be smoother, or, you know, shit like that. And there's nothing wrong. It'd be like if you were painting a picture, and you know, sure, you can
Your
definitely do
mentor
whatever
was
you
like,
want. But
yeah.
if somebody walked up and was like, oh shit, yeah, that looks awesome.
Somebody was like, hold on, this color would be perfect, and they like whip it up and like mix a red and a blue, and they're like, you got to hit this like perfect shade.
Yes.
And then they're like, and then they just, that's all they do is just mix that paint color for
or maybe
you.
not even that, like suggest it. So you walk up and be like, oh, is that a blue truck? And
You
you're
gotta add
like,
some white.
oh, you know what? It was supposed to
Yeah.
be teal. And you're like, oh, my bad. I thought it was blue. And now it's teal. They go in and they make it a little more green. Now it's a little more teal. And now that person's,
Where's
you know,
the line drawn? Like, if I just walked into the studio and like heard some shit and was like, that's tight, do I get an executive producer credit?
You could if somebody felt generous.
Yeah. To throw it back to Kanye and RZA that we were talking about during interview while they were producing My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, they said that Kanye would bring in the pizza delivery guys. Like if he vibed with them, he was like, yo, check this out. Let me know what you think. If he wanted to, like the random pizza delivery driver would have been like quoted as a writer.
Oh yeah, like you could do that. And again, it's up to that. And yo, one of the things I remember with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, this who had like Russell Crowe come listen to it. There's a video. There's a video.
Just imagine like Kanye West being like, ugh.
You don't even have to imagine. There's a video of Russell Crowe in his living room, just like, oh yeah, that's nice. You know?
No. The idea that Kanye was like before that, when he's just like listening to this shit and he just like pauses and is like, Russell Crowe needs to hear this shit.
Yo, you know who would fucking love this song? Russell Crowe. You ever met him? No, get him on the phone.
Holy shit.
And then you call Russell Crowe and he's like,
Hey, can I answer
yeah,
this real
sure.
quick? Is Jose, he's FaceTiming me for some reason.
Sure.
Kanye West doesn't really miss on albums. Like I think he produced 7 albums. His newest works in the last like year or two. He produced like 7 albums in 18 or 19. I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 18. And like what is this woman's name? Oh, I'm trying to think of it as first name T and a second name T.
Tina Turner.
Nope.
Tanya Tucker.
No, I don't think you know her. It's not the vein of music, but it's like the vein of like more like the
Tabitha
R&B
Topco.
stuff that I listen to. It's like I could probably just look it up. Tiana Taylor maybe. He did that one. He did the Black Thought album. I think he did some shit with Black Thought. He did the like Cudi, Kanye West, Kids with Ghosts album, which
Kids
I
with Ghosts.
heavy. I don't know if y'all got that one, but like there's some songs on there that a line will still request by name because he loves like because like
He did the Nas joint.
He did. That's the one that I meant. I don't think it was Black Thought. Maybe it was Nas. Did he? Because Black Thought he put out his own stuff for the first time ever.
I didn't know, but
at the same year or about the same time too.
I don't be paying attention.
But it was
like
Nas.
that,
It was Nas. It was Nas. Nas.
This is what you're saying is like nitrous oxide. Nas.
Oh, with an O.
It's like Nas.
Nas.
And they would say it with like a Z instead of an S.
That's a tough sound for me. Nas.
That's how it's said. Now his name is Nasir, so sure it's Nas, but it's Nas is the way you say it.
Right on. Thank you.
Because it used to be Nasty Nas.
Tight.
Anyways, you said Nas before, and it just hits my ear in a weird way. It's like when people sing off key, and they keep doing it, and you're trying to let it go, and then you're finally like, yeah, can I help you? That's not the note. I know you think you're hitting the note, but you're not. You got to go a little higher.
All right.
What did I say earlier? What did I say this girl's name was?
Tiana Taylor.
Tucker.
I don't know how to spell that.
Teyana Taylor, and the song was "We Got Love."
No, that's not the one I wanted. Hold on. Let me find it if it is her.
2019, Kanye West produced "Jesus Is King," one song off of Post Malone's album, "Francis and the Lights," another song off of there, 2 songs for Pusha T and Nas. 2018 was when he did a bunch. Oh, KTSC was the album that you might be thinking of.
That's the one I thought it was. Yes. This fucking song, Hurry, it was the hit of that summer for me. Can I just skip to the Kanye verse?
Sure, I don't give a fuck.
I don't know where it is, but it's a little sexy too, by the way, so careful. Oop, we missed the Kanye verse. Here we go.
Trinidadian, need to let daddy in. If I need to spend some cash, fuck it, then I'm zaddy then. She in love with a man she can't be with, but she know that pussy gon' leave him seasick. Every time she round, she get treated like the sidekick. And to that side chick when they got some side dick. Sun kiss princess, gold toe ring.
Yeah, I'm mad at Kanye at all.
But he produced that whole album, and the whole thing is just like, it's a little sexy. Like I said, the whole album is a little sexy like that. But it's so good.
That's
like,
the word that you use to describe that?
I mean, it's about sex, and it's
a little E. So
I mean, I don't know what else you would call it. Like shit said about sex. What would you call it?
I don't know. Boning music?
I mean, I don't think it is boning music. Maybe it is, but it's definitely some of it is definitely boning music that you could put on while you're boning, but not all of it is only that.
It didn't sound. It didn't, see, I don't know. It's not the word I would use to describe it. You said it about 4 times. I was like, damn, that's the word, huh? Sexy.
I don't know what else to call it.
I don't know. When you're not talking about chicks, sexy is like a thing that you that you would like call a car. You know what I mean?
But why would you call that car sexy?
Like, God damn, that's sexy.
Why would it be sexy?
Because it's loud. You know what I'm saying?
What? No, I don't. That doesn't make no sense at all.
Oh yeah, you ever
fucking,
see like a nasty
car drives by, there's like all the smoke comes out, and you're like, fucking sexy.
Not like a truck. You're thinking of like a truck with like a Confederate flag on the back. I'm thinking of like a '79 Chevelle.
And it's loud.
And if it just can't hit like that, you'd be like, God damn, that shit's sexy, boy.
No, I wouldn't.
Poor fucking thing.
Poor fucking thing. I think you're the poor thing over here thinking that loud is sexy. And that
no, I'm just saying that's another way. That's another thing I would use to describe sexy. That song, that's not what I would describe that. That's weird.
I think you should hear the whole song. It's pretty sexy. When you get into the chorus, she's just like literally moaning in the chorus. Like it's very sexy.
Okay.
It has to do with sex, but it's also just like it's pretty like risque. Maybe risque is the word that you want. That's more accurate.
Why would I want risque?
Because that's maybe a more accurate word for it than sexy.
I don't know. Dirty?
Maybe dirty?
Yeah,
maybe
like,
dirty.
And I don't mean dirty in a bad way. You'd be like, damn,
I think
That's
dirty could
dirty
be
ass
described.
song,
Some of
boy.
it, like some of it, you're
That
like,
song filthy, boy.
you're like, dang, I should definitely make it to church this
Yeah, all
month
right. See,
sometime.
that's different.
Woo.
Yeah. Anyway,
Like, lets the steam out of your collar a little bit, or you need to. Whew. No, you don't get any. All right, buddy.
where's the steam coming from?
You don't never, man. You don't remember like old cartoons when you're just like, woo.
Is that what they were
You're
doing?
getting
Letting
hot
the steam
and
come
like,
out?
psst, yeah, you're getting hot. So
I
you gotta,
never
like-
understood
like-
what that was. I could see Bugs Bunny's ass doing that right now, going.
Yeah, he's letting the steam out here.
Oh,
He's getting heated.
fuck
Or
that
he's
fool.
getting, or if he's getting pulled off.
I'm aware of that motherfucker.
Or if he's getting pulled off, that could also be like the hook. And like when people would be performing and they'd be like, no, and give them the hook would mean like they have this like 20 foot long thing with a hook on the end that if people wouldn't get off the stage, they'd just like whoosh, whoosh, and pull them off, right? And I don't know why I just brought that up. I think that we just got
Oh
to
yeah,
me.
the only hook that I'm using is I'm gonna take Bugs Bunny's ass. I'm gonna use a hook, skid his ass, and then you know what I'm saying?
Why Bugs Bunny though? Why not Daffy?
Because Daffy's not racist.
Bugs Bunny's racist?
Hell yeah, that boy was in the Civil War, killing Indians.
No way.
Hell yeah,
I didn't know that.
for real?
I really didn't.
All right, so this shirt right here is called Injun Joe's Revenge, and it's about an episode of Looney Tunes or whatever you're supposed to call it, Merry Melodies, you know, all that shit, right? Fucking, it's the Civil War, and Bugs Bunny is, or not even like the Civil War, it's just like that era. You know what I mean? During that whole era, because that was also the era when they were when the white people were conquering the West. Well, trying to at least. They had to.
What era is this?
They
Can
had
you
to
give
pull,
me a
they had to
decade?
pull some slick shit. 1800s, 1850.
Okay.
All right, and so 1860ish, right? And again, it's the cartoon. Bugs Bunny's there. He's in the fort. They're shooting at Indians, so Indians are running out.
Oh, I know the Indian you're talking about too.
And yeah,
In
the
my
big
head.
chief.
Big long nose.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Remember that shit from Looney Tunes? Well, Indians are running up. Bugs Bunny's shooting, and he's all like, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians. And he's like, and then when he's doing that, he marks them down, like he's making a tally of his kills. And then on his last one, he goes, "Oh, sorry, that one was a half breed," and so he crosses out half of the mark.
No.
So he takes half of the mark,
That's evil.
erases half the mark.
I mean, this was evil to begin with. But
So
like,
this is the episode, where he ended up going in with General George Armstrong Custer, and at the Battle of Little Bighorn, or the Battle of the Greasy Grass, and we got that motherfucker. And fuck Bugs Bunny, and fuck Brigadier General George Armstrong Buster, and this been the Lone Ranger was Tonto up in this bitch.
fuck,
Got anything
man.
else?
That changes Space Jam forever.
Yeah, fuck that phone.
Fuck, man. Damn. What
So
a
they're-
bummer you just left us on.
Besides the whole, because that's why people think we act like that. Fuck them.
Southern Fried
Anything else?
Rabbit from 1953. That was the episode.
We'll plug that shit in here too. You got anything else?
Not. No, I don't think so. Besides, follow. You got some time?
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
roll it up, buddy. What are you doing? You just saying for an hour, boy. People are waiting. What you guys have to say or no?
Damn, Justin. Check out my Instagram for some beer posts.
Yes.
Drinking.
Yes. Check out Guy Spencer's Beer Chronicle or some shit that this food called it.
It's actually Guy Spencer's Beer Summit. That's what it's called.
You called it the Chronicle Online, so that's what it's called. Eric, you got anything?
Remember to check out LRVT. What's the playlist called?
I think we need to figure out something.
We'll send a link. Shit.
Check out the Spotify playlist with all the music. We're gonna all pick a song, our favorite song off of by Kanye West. If you figure out who picked what song, I'll personally deliver you an Air 5.
Air 5.
I can't have that.
No,
say like
Hair 5.
I was gonna say like
I'm
a
like,
beer,
what the
but like
fuck?
I don't.
At first I was like, is that a sneaker?
I was like, you buying somebody some bootleg shoes, boy? It's not even an Air Jordan. This is an Air 5. The 5th generation generic. Oh yeah.
Follow us
One of
on
those.
Follow us on all the things. I think Justin said it best last time. Whatever you got, we got. Peace.
At LRBT Podcast. Holler.
Damn it, boys!
One little, two little, three little engines. 4 little, 5 little, 6 little engines. Uh-oh, sorry, that one was a half-breed. 7 little, 8 little, 9 little engines. 10 little engine boys.